France is considered the center of the Korean wave in Europe, with K-pop, K-dramas, and K-food being prominent forms of the K-wave that Hallyu lovers in France embrace. For today's Hallyu People, we meet with someone whose fascination with the Korean culture and people made him become a bridge between his country, France, and Korea. So let me introduce Jean-Claude de Crescenzo, professor at Aix-Marseille University, who is connecting with us from Aix-en-Provence in France. Hello, Professor de Crescenzo.
Hello, Professor.
Hello. Hello.
So, Professor, please, why don't we start with an introduction of yourself to our viewers and maybe also mention your Korean name that you have as well?
Yeah. This name was chosen by my wife's maternal uncle, who simply worked around the Chinese character, finding a compromise between my French name, the way he perceived my character, and the first syllable of my late mother-in-law's name, which he wanted to pass in tribute to his beloved older sister. 장클로드 is written in Chinese character, so.
Oh. All right, so you have that name 장길도, Professor de Crescenzo, very interesting. Also in those characters, Hanja, or the Chinese characters. Now let's talk a bit about your recent book then, The Astonishing Koreans, or 경이로운 한국인. What is this book about?
Yeah, this book is called 경이로운 한국인 in Korean. I dedicated about a year of work to it. The idea behind this book was to talk about Koreans, not about Korea. There are many books that discuss the country, but very few that focus on Koreans. What interested me was exploring the daily lives of Koreans when they go to work, to restaurant, to the hospital, etc. I wanted to consider Korean practice in everyday gesture, highlighting everything that seemed surprise to me.
Well,
Wow.
if we read that book, maybe we'll learn even more about our
Koreans.
people, the Korean people.
Definitely. And I'm sure there are a lot of Koreans you're talking about in your books, but could you share one or two unique episodes or aspects of Korea culture or Koreans that you discovered and felt such intrigued about?
I may surprise you, but I'm especially impressed by the Korean sense of marketing, particularly cultural marketing. It is an undeniable cultural fact. In dramas, the inventiveness of the plot is remarkable, and even more so in K-pop. I could translate a book about BTS written by Hong So-kyung, and I was particularly struck by the marketing around this group. The same applies to cinema, where, for example, the film Parasite is able to entertain us while offering a sharp social critique of Korea. Even in editorial marketing, Koreans are very inventive.
So marketing, that's a very interesting aspect that I would have not thought about.
Right.
But Professor de Crescenzo, I'm very interested in this part here. You founded the Department of Korean Studies at Aix-Marseille University in 2003, I believe. So at that time, the Korean wave didn't really hit Europe or France. So what was your initiative back then when you founded this department?
At that time, I was the director of the master program in international negotiation, which included China and Japan, the Arabian world, and Brazil. I expanded this program by creating sections for Korea, Vietnam, Turkey, and the Spanish-speaking world. Back then, I saw Korea as a country of the future. I didn't have much knowledge about Hallyu, but I sensed that something was about to change in the world. I also wanted to Korea section to offer national diplomas. Initially, we had only 3 Korean language students. However, every year the number grew, and the university gave her the resources to create 3 national diplomas. Today, we have about 250 students from bachelor's to doctorate level.
Well,
Wow.
it's great that you already had that feel, that sense about it, of how Korea's culture could become big in the future. And that is why the department, I guess, was already ready when people nowadays wanted to get into Korean studies after they looked at K-dramas and also K-movies and listened to K-pop. So
Of
it was
course.
been there already for more than a decade now.
I know. So for someone, Professor, who have discovered this, a department 2 decades ago.
Right, 2 decades,
2
actually.
decades, yes. Did you expect this Korean wave to, take on its route the way it did? And also, what do you think of the current Hallyu boom around the world?
We had noticed how much students appreciated Korea, its language and its culture, especially K-pop and dramas. Regardless of the initial motivation of the students, it is the role of the professor to broaden their interest by showing them other aspects of Korean culture. That's what we did, especially when we created the Korean Literature Review Kulmadang with a student, which is now celebrating its 15th anniversary this year. It's still being made by combining the effort of both professor and student. It's a unique experience. Today, there is a real enthusiasm for Korea. K-pop, dramas, cinema, food, fashion, cars, not to mention mobile phone and household appliances are extremely popular. Even literature is rising. This is a great opportunity for Korea, but it's also important for Korean culture to highlight more fundamental aspects such as philosophy, mythology, and history in order to avoid a superficial understanding of Korean culture.
Definitely. And you're not only an author yourself with your book, The Astonishing Koreans, 경이로운 한국인, but you also introduced numbers of Korean literatures to French readers. So I want to ask you how Korean literature is perceived and viewed in France.
There have been several phases when it comes to Korean literature. A first one in the 1980s and 90s, then in the 2000s and the current period. The way Korean literature has been perceived has really changed depending of each era. The general observation we can make is this. In the past, you needed a good understanding of Korean history to really appreciate it. That's not quite the case anymore. The books then have become quite broad. I like to say they've been globalized.
I see. Now, Professor, between 2012 and 2024, more than 240 Korean literary works were introduced in France. I bet the number will grow in the future. But that means that they were translated and published. And of those 53 books, close to 22% of the total were published by your publishing company. What kind of books are they, and what were the criteria you looked at when choosing those Korean works?
Yes, we have published around 70 Korean titles. Yes, that's a lot. It's important to highlight the fundamental role played by the Korean Literature Translation Institute and the Arirang Foundation in the development of Korean literature in France. As for the Crescenzo publisher, its president, Frank de Crescenzo, published about a dozen titles per year, including 4 to 6 Korean titles. The selection criteria are difficult to balance, but we publish both mainstream work and those that are more difficult to access. I believe literature has the power to help us understand who we are, the kind of world we live in, how we can improve ourselves, and how we can do less harm to the planet. I have co-translated about 20 novels, a dictionary, and 2 essays. Notably, the novel Kantang by Lee Seung-woo received the Grand Prize for Translation awarded by the Minister of Culture and the Korean Literature Translation Institute in 2023. Personally, I'm especially focused on the literature quality of the text. it's important to receive text of high literary quality, not just nice story, even so that is the current demand from the public.
We hope for many more great selections by your publishing company. But finally, our question is, as a pioneer or ambassador of Korean culture, what are your future plans?
Oh, my goal haven't changed. I am to better understand Korean society and to give back some of what it has given me. So I'll keep writing books, especially about things that are disappearing in Korea, like I did with Peter Hyang Yoheng, A Journey Toward In the Light, published by Pavilion and by the Crescenzo publisher. I also want to write more about contemporary Confucianism, and of course, I will keep translating literary works, especially poetry.
Looks like you're going to be kept busy throughout the years, and we will look forward to more of your own books and also the translations. So thank you very much, Professor de Crescenzo, for sharing your story with us, and also for raising the interest in everything Korean to people in France and beyond.
Thank you.
감사합니다.
감사합니다. Merci beaucoup. And thank you, Bella, as always. We're going to see you back next time.
Yes, I'll see you back next time.